up? What up? What up? Yerp. Stop this music, man. What's happening? It's Chris Hall here. You are now tuned into the Chris Hall Show, where we discuss dating, relationships, and as you can see, much, much more. I don't know what's going on with this view. How I keep going in and out. Can y'all see me? Am I good? Am I clear to you? Can you see me now? Anywho, we're going to get right into it. You see the title. We're talking about the Uvalde, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Texas school shooting. And the question that I want to know, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to discuss that. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. All of my regulars, you already know, hit that like button on the way in. And of course, this ain't juice. This is actually a inexpensive sweet red wine, believe it or not. I just felt like red wine tonight. So we're going to get right into it. Let's just give a background story of what exactly went on. So unless you've been living under a rock, in Texas, they had a active shooter. Some 18-year-old boy, or young man, should I say, decided to go to a elementary school, barricade himself inside of it, and shoot upwards of 21 souls. I believe 19 children and 2 teachers were murdered in cold blood on this day. What do we know about it so far? Let's bring up the article. I will say, before I start, my condolences goes out to the families of these kids, the families of these teachers. When I heard about it, I work from home now. When I heard about it, I'm in my office. Obviously, it doesn't look like this while I'm at work, but in my office, I have my phone right here, and I get a alert. And the first thing I see was school shooting, right? And mind you, as some of y'all may know, I have a 7-year-old who is in the first grade going to the second. So when I seen it, I don't know why, but it was an eerie feeling. I was like, yo, let me check this and see if it's my daughter's school. I don't know. It just said when I seen it, all I seen was school shooting. It was like a big thing. I was like, what the hell's going on? So I went and looked at it. It wasn't here, and it was strange. And I had a sigh of relief. It's weird, but then yet and still other parents lost their child. And I was like, man, this is a strange feeling that I don't want to even use the word happy, relieved that it wasn't my child, but then it's someone else's, right? So you get this contradicting feeling. You're like, damn, I'm glad it wasn't my kid, but damn, that sucks that it's somebody else's. These are elementary school children, one of the most innocent. And I am fighting right here on this camera to keep the innocent for other topics that I will discuss at a later date. But yet and still, other people have lost their children. And I couldn't imagine having to get that word that this was my child. So I said, damn, let me do my due diligence by seeing what exactly went on. So let's go over to, where is it at? Hey, y'all. Dressed in all black like you know me. Nope, I don't want that. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on the way in. I'm watching y'all. Let me look. Okay, I see it. We definitely missing some likes, but I see y'all. Let's go to. Okay, so Texas school shooter lived in Uvalde. What do we know about the gunman? This is from USA Today. The nation is reeling one day after the deadliest shooting in modern Texas history. And authorities on Wednesday provided information about the gunman whose massacre killed 19 children and 2 teachers at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott identified the assailant as Salvador Ramos, 18-year-old kid, young man, and said he was a resident of the heavily Latino community. I did notice that when I seen, because I did see the still image of all the kids who had perished by the hands of Salvador. He was a resident heavily Latino community about 85 miles west of San Antonio. The governor said Ramos walked into Robb Elementary School in Uvalde around 11:30 a.m. Central Time and opened fire. So basically, this gentleman pretty much went into the school uninhibited and just started opening fire on these poor, defenseless children and teachers. USA Today is providing details about the shooter to inform mass attacks are often planned out, particularly with respect to how weapons are targets and selected. These details give authorities and the public information that could help citizens spot future mass shooters and prevent them. Tuesday's attack was the deadliest shooting at the U.S. grade since a gunman killed 20 children and 6 adults, as it's sad saying popularly known as the Sandy Hook shooting, elementary in Newton, Connecticut, almost a decade ago. This seems to go on in these very, very remote places, man. And I don't really know the answer to none of these things. I'm just giving my thought as your average citizen. Okay. The Texas shooting comes just 10 days after a gunman in body armor killed 10 black shoppers and workers at the supermarket in Buffalo, New York, in what authorities say was a racist attack. In this info, officials say gunman acted alone. Texas authorities on Wednesday, Texas authorities on Wednesday said they were seeking answers about a possible motive that would spark the attack from a man who had no criminal record and no known mental health history. This passage or this statement right here is going to be important coming soon. But at a news conference in Uvalde on Wednesday with other state and law enforcement officers, Governor Abbott said that the gunman shot his grandmother in the face prior to attacking the school. This was a troubled individual by no stretch of the imagination. From what he just did to his grandmother would it literally embodies a psychopath. But I watched this video that I'm going to show as well of, I think, his grandfather or something like that, talking about him. And just like most of these school shootings that we see, and we know art imitates life, we've seen movies about him. They're usually a quiet, squirrely type of kid, doesn't really talk much, doesn't have many friends, and those are the ones that you have to look out for, you know. Shot his grandmother's face. Governor Abbott said the gunman shot his grandmother's face. Abbott called him a demented person. I would say the same thing too. Obviously, I'm no clinician in this respected field, but just by the facts on the ground, I'd be like, man, this is a troubled individual. Put this on here. Roughly 30 minutes before the attack, the gunman issued several chilling communications on social media. So this person actually tweeted out these events leading up to the school shooting. He says the first was, I'm going to shoot my grandmother. The second post was, I shot my grandmother. He said, now I don't know who follows this individual. This dude could have 2 followers and they both could be bots. I have not the slightest clue. I didn't go searching that deep, but I would assume if I seen someone who I follow say they're going to shoot their grandmother, I'd be on the horn immediately. And the third said he was going to shoot at a school. Now, it doesn't necessarily state how far in between these tweets are from the incident, but they seem to be very close in proximity. A spokesman from Meta, a parent from Facebook, said on Twitter that the message that Abbott described were private. Oh, one-to-one messages. Another parent said Twitter message. Okay. The shooter had lived with his 66-year-old grandmother since March, the official said. She survived the shooting, seeking help from neighbors when the police were called. She was airlifted for her injuries, such and such and such. Okay, so here we go. The gunman took his grandmother's truck and crashed it outside of Robb Elementary School, Abbott said. Around 11:30, he took an AR-15 style rifle in a backpack with him and went to enter the school. Another rifle was later discovered in the truck, according to a briefing given to the lawmaker. So you have to understand this person. Now, it doesn't say how long this was premeditated, but he went to the school. Like I said, nobody stopped this individual. He had a clear path to the school. I'm assuming he had the AR. It's very hard to conceal an AR-15 for those that don't know. So I'd assume this is out. So just the thought of me looking at somebody with an assault rifle going into a school is pretty chilling if you really think about it. And there's no one to impede this individual. It's like, hey, hold on now. We do a lot of things, but we're not doing that. You know, there's no one to confront this individual. The shooter was wearing a plate carrier, but not ballistic armor. So I actually had to look this up. So looks like it's kind of like the vest that you would see someone like the, Marines and stuff wear. But it doesn't have an actual plate in it to stop a bullet. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't have an actual plate in it. It's just the actual kind of armor, if you will, just like the clothing. According to briefing that State Senator John Whitmire said that he received police were not pursuing the gunman before he crashed. So I wonder I'm assuming 18, you should be able to know how to drive. So I'm not sure what made him crash. I don't know if he was under the influence or if he was in such a rush to hurry up and get out of the vehicle to make a beeline to these students. At the school, the shooter first encountered a school resource officer, but made it inside the school through the back door. So I'm going to assume maybe he tried to come to the front like, hey, what's up? And maybe dog said, no, you can't come in here. So he just walked around the back. I don't get it. Officials said he walked down the hallways before entering the classroom. Police for several agencies converged on a classroom and burst in. A U.S. Border Protection agent shot and killed the gunman. A senior Department of Homeland Security security official told USA Today the agent was shot in the foot and lower leg, blah, 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 blah. He was treated for his injuries. The gunman acted alone. In all, 19 children called with 2 family members. So, senior partner in the school district where shooting had taken place and rose about 1,100 students. This is some other stuff about him, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the Texas Softer Director Zimmer Cross said on Wednesday the gunman recently purchased 2 semi-automatic rifles on separate dates, and a department spokesman later clarified to USA Today that the purchases were made on May 17th and May 20th. So this gentleman pretty much walked into doesn't say where, but I'm assuming he just walked into a gun store, especially if they have purchase receipts or have tracked it down that fast. Purchases were made on the 17th and the 20th. So he just went in, bought it along with a couple hundred rounds of ammunition. Yeah, purchased 375 rounds of 5.56 ammunition. For those that don't know, that is 4 an assault rifle. And obviously this was premeditated. He bought this just days before he actually performed the heinous acts. That's going to lose the skirt of the shooting officer, shooting up, blah, 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 blah. Maintain a guard on the house where the gunman is believed to have shot him. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's get back. So now we at least have set the table for this, right? So I don't know if you've all noticed, right? But once I actually started paying attention to things, I'd say around COVID time, when things really slowed down. I wasn't going on vacations as much. I wasn't partying. I wasn't going out to the clubs. I wasn't doing all the things that I used to love to do. That, what I like to say now that I look back at it, lulled me to sleep. Literally rocked me to sleep. Rock-a-bye, baby. Shout out to New Jack City. So once I started paying attention, I realized that the media kind of shows you what you should be focused on, what's most important. Because if you notice, if you just look up, obviously this ain't your thing, I get it, so I did it for you. If you just look up FBI statistics on death rate as a whole, on deaths as a whole, there's a multitude of reasons why people die, why people pass away. Multitude of reasons. Some numbers are staggering, are more than other numbers. Some numbers are relatively low, but at the end of the day, there's many ways that people perish here in the United States. But I realized at first it was the media made us focus on COVID. COVID was the big thing for a while, to where every day of our lives was literally saturated with COVID content. There was literally I don't know if y'all remember this, but at the very beginning of it, during the real crazy part, there was always on the news, there was like a little ticker at the bottom right of the screen on CNN. I believe Fox probably did it as well. That literally was like a death toll. It was strange. I felt like I was watching The Purge or something. It's really strange that they would tell you how many people were dying. It was very strange how many people were catching it. Let me put this right here. How many people were catching it? How many cases? Things of that nature. And after that, or once that was going on, they kind of lulled us to sleep with that. That was like the first thing they did. Then all of a sudden, black people just started getting killed by the police out of nowhere. Okay? I wish I could edit in the Umar Johnson clip. Don't you find that suspicious? Because it's like now we have to focus on black people getting shot by the police. Now we're all in an uproar. We're protesting. We're burning shit down. We're fighting amongst each other. We're arguing. We're looking out for the government for answers. Now we start the defund the police movement. We run with this defund the police. Now all of a sudden the police don't know how to do their job as a whole, and we need to get rid of them altogether because of what the media put in our face. A handful of incidents that were thrusted into the fore. Because mind you, police been shooting niggas since niggerdom. Okay? Since the beginning of time. You hear me? Niggas has been getting shot. But for some odd reason, as the world turns around 2020, now all of a sudden niggas are getting shot left and right, you would believe, correct? Because it's what you're seeing on television. And it didn't hit me that when the television shows you one person that got shot or that got killed or got in an accident or is missing or whatever, that's one person out of the millions of incidences that, let's say, the police have with an individual that doesn't end in a black man getting shot in the street. It's weird because the argument that people will have is black men are disproportionately represented in the jails, right? Always, we have the gripe that black people get arrested more than white people. We get more time. We get more of this. We get more of that. But in the same breath, we're saying that police also shoot up black people left and right. So my thing is, mind you, this isn't a popular opinion. You may hate the analogy, but you have to think about it for a second. If your complaint is black people are in jail, it's a lot of black people in jail, this would mean, in turn, that there are white officers arresting black criminals and successfully transporting them to jail without them dying, correct? I'll let that marinate for a while. You may have to breathe. Correct. So how, on the same token, are they also just shooting black people just for being black people? There's staggering numbers of black people who successfully make it to prison. Right? So that's why I was like, this is strange that this is always the argument that now we need to defund the police. Police don't know what they're doing. It's not the criminals. No. It's the police. So we go with this defund the police movement. Then, well, in between that, it was mask as well. They swung us back around to now we have well, hold on. Which one was first? Well, okay. During all of that, it was a lot of shit. It was also the Trump derangement syndrome, to where everything that happened in life was due to Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump's fault for everything. The media somehow made us believe that everything bad that happens, it was Donald Trump's fault. I remember, because the position that I used to work in was customer facing. I would go to clients' houses. So I went to this one black lady's house, and I think we might have had canceled her appointment or something like that. We may have canceled her appointment. Do you know she told me ever since Trump was in office, she couldn't get appointments through the company that I work for in a timely manner? She blamed Trump for our company's scheduling policies and procedures. That's how bad it had gotten. When I would walk into people's houses, the first thing they would mention is Trump. So they lulled us to sleep with that. Within that was the mask as well. Then what did they do? They came out with a vaccine. Now we have to argue with each other on the vaccine. So now we're separated again. So they separated us first with the pro-police, Black Lives Matter and the All Lives Matter. They separated us again with people who support the police, and then people who, for some odd reason, believe that the police should be defunded and abolished, right? It's like the government always finds some way to separate us in some way, shape, or form. No matter what, it could be an isolated incident, but they will input something that can separate us as a society, put us on majority two sides of even though there's a gaggle of people who really don't give a goddamn, there's still the majority of people are choosing one side, majority of people are choosing the other side. So they separated us with that. Then they separated us from Trump supporters, non-Trump supporters. So now what ends up happening, and shout out to Joe Rogan for this, what ends up happening is they label you as they put you in a easily dismissible category or group. So if you are known as a Trump supporter, the media has done such a great job to vilify you, to make you look like you're the bad guy, to make you look like you're racist. And God forbid you're black. They just come up with another word with it, like Uncle Tom or Sambo or bootlicker or something like that. Or you're going against your people. And that's going to be a conversation we're going to have for the congregation soon as well, this whole notion of my people. But either way, that's another subject for another day. So they separate you with that, and what they do is they put you in an easily dismissible group. So now what ends up happening, so say that you're a Trump supporter, right? Once you're labeled as a Trump supporter, even if your occupation or how you made money was, let's say, baking cakes, now all of a sudden, no matter how delicious and moist your buttercream cake is, because you support Trump, I can no longer eat your cake. It's the strangest thing to me that people can no longer separate politics from real life. Who you like in politics are a subset or uphold a subset of laws or beliefs or whatever your reason. Some people vote for presidents because they look handsome. I don't know. They can talk well, like Barack Obama, the first black president. I'm vote for him because it's historic. It's virtuous. The first woman vice president. It's virtuous. People vote because of that. But the media has done such a good job at separating people. Then you had the vaccine, right? That's when they separate you again. Now you have pro-vax versus anti-vax. So now, whether you, and I'll put this in parentheses, believe in the vaccine's effectiveness or not, let's just say that, you're still anti-vax because you don't want to take the vaccine. Is that not strange? They separated you with that. So now if you are known as someone who does not want to be vaccinated, not only were people fired from their jobs, you couldn't even talk about it on the internet without getting censored. Then fast forward from the vax and the vax mandate. Should we mandate it? Should we this and the mask and this, that, and the third? Then out of nowhere, it got a little boring. Nothing going on. Then you got January 6th. So you got January 6th. January 6th comes out of nowhere. We're sitting on our couch. All of a sudden, people are running inside of the Capitol building, wilding out. I don't know why this looks like this. I'm trying to fix it mid-air. This is crazy. Should I be back further or closer? I gotta talk to my video man because this is insane. I don't know why that's like that. Maybe it's because I'm wearing a white shirt. What y'all think? Do y'all know? I don't know why I look like that. Just listen to the words. When I get closer, it doesn't do that. But anywho, so then January 6th comes in. We see a bunch of random white folk running up in the Capitol building acting a fool, right? To me, I didn't really see anything that serious from what I seen. I know the lady Abbott, I think was her name. She did lose her life. I think she tried to jump through a window or something like that and got popped for doing so. And I didn't see it, so I can't say what was right or wrong. And I didn't see any video of it. But I'm a strong advocate, and that's on almost all across the board. You play silly games, you get silly prizes. Okay, I'm just listen. That's with everything. That's with jumping in a car. That's with doing anything to where you should have been more careful. You shouldn't have did it. I'm like that all across the board. So then you got the January 6th, which pushed people further into this Trump derangement syndrome. They blame Trump for that as well. And then they kind of rode on that for a while, right? And mind you, I'm doing this off the cuff. I'm not even, this is just something I just jumped off into because I just want y'all to see, I don't mean to go too long. I just want y'all to see how the division of the media works. Just think about this. If there was nothing on TV, if TV, and social media is even worse because now you got the idiot box with you at all times. Think about it. There's never a time where your phone is more than 25 feet away from you, especially more than 15 minutes. Now, mind you, we put our phones, like right now, my phone is on Do Not Disturb because I'm doing a show. But even still, I can't think of a time my phone's not within arm's reach. Your phone is always with you, so you're always receiving influences from what I like to call the idiot box. But let's get back into some other stuff here. But yeah, I just wanted to just touch on the separation. And then you had the Patino case or something like that with the missing white woman syndrome. And you had that case lingering on. If you ever think about it, then you got Ukraine and Russia. It's always something that tries to take your attention off of what's really going on. Okay, it's the old 3-card Monty trick. Okay, the sleight of hand. And all that I wanted to get out to my people is to wake up and actually start paying attention to this stuff. Stop overly identifying yourself with a particular color, with a particular party, with a particular race, with a particular religion, with anything. Always keep all that stuff at arm's reach. Yes, you're black. Cool. But this doesn't mean that you can't be critical of things that black people do. Yes, you're a woman. Great. Does not mean that you cannot be critical of what women do. Yes, you're a Republican. It doesn't mean that you can't be, or conservative. Doesn't mean that you can't be critical or critique something that a Republican does, or conservative. You should be able to do that. I always tell people this: whenever you're talking about whatever your identity group is LGBTQ, black, Spanish, white, tall, light skin, dark skin, male, female, whatever your category is, if something comes up about one of your identity groups, step outside of it for a second. And this takes time. Okay, if you're very pro-black, you might as well turn this off, because that's not going to work for you. If you're somewhere neutral, like I was at a time, this will work for you. Some people are too far gone either way. Some people are too conservative. They will call that far right or far left or something of that nature. It is what it is. Let's get back into this. So then we get into, let's go back into the video files here. Why is this playing? I don't want to play that. Hold on, y'all. I'm getting there. Oh, you know what? I think it is right there. So then you get Steve Kerr. I believe it was the night before last. Or was it last night? Was it last night, y'all? When he talked about this actual incident. Tuesday. Say what? On Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday night. So he went on a rant when he was doing a press conference or press interview. Supposed to be answering questions about the game plan and this, that, and the third. But instead, he took the time to do this, and I want to bring it up here if I can. There we go. Let's listen to it together. Let's get into it.
I'm not going to talk about basketball. Nothing's happened with our team in the last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot-around, 14 children were killed 400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California. And now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week. So I'm fed up. I've had enough.
All right. So you heard it. Steve Kerr, very emotional in his sentiments, talking about, oh, hold on, let me get out of here. Don't want that. Thank you. And yes, thank you. No sound. Appreciate that. Yeah, so he was very passionate, very emotional about this Uvalde, Texas school shooting at Robb Elementary. Now, what in the hell? Now, what what ends up happening is the news shows you something heinous. And mind you, we live in a big world. Let's just talk about our country. That's big as it is. Let's not talk about the world. So what ends up happening is the world is a big place. We all are in our own little bubbles or whatever, our friend and family nucleus. We go to work, we go home, we eat our food, we watch some stupid stuff on the idiot box, and then go to bed, and we wake up and do it all over again. The average person is not watching content like this to where they can find out what's really going on, because it goes back to the saying, ignorance is bliss. And not ignorant to where we're calling you stupid, because I used to be ignorant as well about, and I still am I'm not the oracle, so I don't know everything. But what I do know is that there's a lot more going on than what I thought at one particular time. So he talks about the bill called the HR 8 bill that that Congress or the Senate has not passed. And this is what it is. The bill would require pretty much background checks. There's some more stringent background checks for firearm sales or transfers throughout. U.S. background checks are not currently required for sales or transfers by unlicensed and private sellers. So it's pretty much private sellers not being able to sell this. Now, it's a sell without a background check. Now, from what I'm understanding is this is going to be a law that's going to be passed on the federal level. So it's going to have to adhere to everyone, because there are certain states that do have different type of gun laws. You get what I'm saying? Like Buffalo, like New York City has one of the strictest gun laws in our whole United States of America, and somebody still acquired a firearm to go shoot up a supermarket. So what we have to understand, yes, and oh yeah, and one thing, remember I told you that there was going to be a statement in that article that we were going to go back to. And let me see if I can find it. Because it was saying that Salvador Ramos, the school shooter, although, this HR 8 law isn't in effect, even if it was, where is it? Even if it was, remember, Salvador had a clean record. And he was able to purchase 2 semi-automatic rifles and almost 400 rounds of ammunition. Why was he be able to do that? Because he doesn't have a criminal record and doesn't have any evidence of mental illness either. So what we're saying is, even if that law was in effect for a background check, this individual, 18 years of age, would have still been able to purchase those firearms, would have still been able to perform this heinous act. So now what you're going to get, think about it. What are the odds that there's all these mass shootings in the country all of a sudden? Remember what I said earlier, all of a sudden, police were shooting black people indiscriminately. All of a sudden, you need to wear a mask. Then all of a sudden, you don't need to wear a mask. All of a sudden, if you get vaccinated, you could take your mask off. Then all of a sudden, you need a mask and your vaccination. Then all of a sudden, I mean, come on. At some point, even if you could give two fucks about this whole situation, right? Even if you don't care, you can sit back and realize, like, God damn, this is a lot of mass shootings. Mind you, niggas get shot in the hood every day. It's a nigga getting shot right now, but that's not in the news. Why aren't more black on black crimes shown in the national news? Why is it? Because they don't want you to care about that type of stuff, right? There's no political expediency in showing black people killing other black people. What can we do? Black people don't like seeing that, so you're not going to get the black vote. And black people don't have an answer for it, so there's nothing that the white savior can do for you for black on black crime. We don't care about it, so that's not up for the white savior to save, right? Because he doesn't care, or we don't care as black people, at least as much as these other things. So you see, so this is the thing. The Golden State Warriors cash in, I seen it the other day, like a couple $1 billion every season. The Golden State Warriors have the highest salary. I don't know if it's salary cap. Y'all got to help me with this. I'm not deep into the salary cap stuff, but the biggest bankroll in the NBA. They pay their players the most. They have the biggest contracts out of any team in the NBA. They're making billions and billions of dollars. If you wanted to, you all can afford to put an armed security guard or officer in every school in the United States of America. You are making billions of dollars. But instead what happens, and I don't blame Steve Kerr because this is a sad situation. What happens is people who have a public voice, like you'll see entertainers and music artists, actors, some politicians as well use it for political gain. Like, oh, he cares about gun laws, let me vote for him. So now it's going to be about vote grabs. So everyone's going to tie themselves to this one isolated situation and kind of hold on to it like the raft to get you to political expediency, right? They're going to hold on to it and make you vote for them because, oh, he believes in pro-choice. I'm going to go for him. And I get it. I get it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's what politicians are going to try to do. But when entertainers do it, it's just an emotional response for seeing something. Their everyday lives aren't necessarily impacted by this stuff. They live in $1 million mansions up in Calabasas somewhere or in Martha's Vineyard, living like kings and queens. So they don't really have to deal with that. But what they do have is a voice. They have a bigger voice than me. They have a bigger voice than you. So they're able to say things and people sit there and watch and hold on to every word. And it seems like they're very virtuous. Steve Kerr seemed very passionate and serious about that. But here we go again, another shooting, and another time we're going to continue to attack the gun. Going to continue to attack the AR-15. When the AR-15 is accounted for a minuscule amount of the deaths in the United States when it comes to murder. But that's what we want to attach ourselves to because the crimes are just more heinous. So my thing, and as I close, I wondered what soul matters the most. You ever ask yourself that? The school shooting, yes, shot a lot of people at one time and was a very heinous act. But should we not focus on the children that get shot by stray bullets? The children who get abducted? There's so many things. Molested. There's so many heinous acts that go on around us. We just pick and choose which one we want to attach ourselves at the time. There was a post, and I'm not sure if I saved it. That'd be dope if I did save it. I could show y'all real quick before I go. Did I save it? Hell no. I never saved a good post, y'all. My bad. But it was you know what? I think I posted it. Let me see. I sure as hell did. Let me see. I'm gonna find it. I got a little bit of time, y'all. Just a little bit. So y'all really not gonna show my stuff, huh? Okay, I get it. Oh, that's hella whack. The link is broken. What happened? Did they take it down? Did the media take the shit down? Wow. That's wild. There was a post I wanted to show you, which I actually alluded to earlier, to where I was like, you know, we're all going to have an emotional response from it. You're going to pull a whole bunch of, posts from the internet that obviously coincide with the situation at hand. You're going to post it. You're going to say your prayers. And then the very next slide is going to be a TikTok dance or some type of funny public figure online that you LOLing about and reposting it because you thought it was funny. So I'm sure you're going to think it's funny. So I'm waiting for you to LOL or like what I posted, so we can be in agreement that we both found what I posted funny. Isn't that strange how social media works? We are ridiculous. Isn't that silly? People damn near 40 posting stuff in hopes that you're in agreement of what I posted. If you really like, I'll be on another level with like thinking. I'm not saying that I'm this intellectual or nothing, but I just be thinking and looking down at things like what are we doing? And the best part with me and my intelligent thinking, right? My fourth and fifth level thinking, I be in the group. Self-awareness is one of the best things that you can realize. I'm in the group of just posting things in hopes that someone else also finds it funny. Because think about posting something and no one says anything. How silly would that be? How silly would that be? But in closing, I just wanted to shine, some light on the situation. Just to when you see these things, and ladies, I know you are very, very emotional and compassionate, and you like to take on other people's pain. Women are very emotional, and it's almost like a vacuum of pain. You're just running your vacuum through life, and as soon as something's going on that you can feel someone's pain, you want to feel it, and you get emotional, and you cry, especially if you can relate. You have kids and things like that. I remember somebody told me, and it might be inside the Bible. Y'all know me, I'm no Bible thumper, but it said the life you save will be your own. And that really stuck with me. Yes, we can show empathy for certain things, but you don't want exterminating factors, exterior factors to disturb the peace that you have. I remember, and this is the longest closing of life, but I remember when I drive around and I see signs in the ground, pray for Ukraine and stop the violence on the gays and Black Lives Matter and stop Asian hate. It's almost everything they tell you to do, you do it. Somebody shows you something and you're just so overly compassionate about it to where you lose control of yourself. And if you think about it, most of these incidences are from people who cannot control their emotions. Something is plaguing them spiritually. Mind you, y'all know I'm not a spiritual person. Something is plaguing them spiritually, which they cannot handle and endure. So they take the pain that they feel and inflict it on other people. And in most cases, take their own life as well because they can't deal with what they just did. And I think that's what we really need to really remember. There's no law that man can pass that's going to change the souls and hearts of others. I don't care what law you pass. If somebody wants to go out of their house and commit a heinous act, no matter what blunt object that they use, no matter what inanimate object they use, they're going to use it. to inflict whatever pain that they want on somebody else. Just like with COVID, they never really told y'all to eat healthier, work out, get in shape, stop eating McDonald's every other day. They didn't say that. Instead, they say, I have the answer, go get the vaccine. They don't tell you, hey, go out there and get trained in firearm safety. Get trained in firearm safety. Exercise your Second Amendment. Exercise it. That doesn't mean go out there and shoot people indiscriminately by saying that. It's your God-given right. It's in the Constitution, for God's sakes. Okay? They don't tell you do that. Instead, they say, let's get rid of the guns. That's the problem. So let me get this right. You're telling me that there's criminals at the crib watching the news, you pass this law, and they're like, oh, fuck, man. Now how am I going to get a gun to commit crimes? If you believe that, then I have a beachfront property for you for sale in Idaho. Please email me at christopher.hall1212@gmail.com. Just wire the money on over to me, and I have that beachfront property waiting for you in excellent condition. With all that said, that's it. That's all. This is the Chris Hall Show. Appreciate you tuning in. And I'm out.